Design Advisory Board. Looks like we have a full committee. Do we take the roll or? Sure. Okay. Thank you.
Duncan Black,
Present.
Marissa Colucci,
Present.
Tracy Conhaz-Early,
Present.
Jonathan O'Rourke,
Present.
Pete Talty.
Okay, then. All right, so, again, thank you for your willingness to put up with me. This is my first one of these particular committee. Just be informed when I left the planning board, Dale was a real supporter of the effort and probably doing a wonderful job when he ended up going off the rails and they put me in place. So I'm sure that eventually I'll figure out what I'm doing here and I'll be good. Some of my jokes are funny, but not most of them. So let's see, the petitioner will present the agenda board, which we have agenda item. And so without further ado, I think I'll call on the applicant, the petitioner.
Good evening. My name is James Baglioli. I'm an attorney for Benderson Development, 570 Delaware Avenue. Some of you know me. Not an architect. I did bring my architect, Charlie Rust, who will walk through the elevations, but we can pull the site plan up. And I'll just walk you through the project. I know you might be familiar with this site. Let me just turn my pointer on. Oh, go back one. You got Maple Road and Sweet Home. The site has entrances on Maple, entrance on Sweet Home. We own the property in yellow and the building in the back. So that's not highlighted, but that's our site. We don't own the hotel and the Anchor Bar, which sits at the corner. The site does operate as a unified development, though, shares parking and access, and that really can't be changed that much. We did recently redo the medical building up front a number of years ago, and that's tenanted. The Starbucks, it is a 2,500 square foot Starbucks. It is proposed in the middle of the site, generally where my green dot is. Next slide, please. This is the Starbucks. As I know, it's 2,500 square feet. We have a wide sidewalk, pedestrian connection out to the parking lot area in this area, patio off in this area. We're using the dumpsters located behind the medical building. We did, based on the comments, add a pedestrian connection off of Maple. There's a sidewalk here. We added a crosswalk, pedestrian connection, so you can get all the way up through the site and to the Starbucks and make your way all the way to the medical building, which is mainly a dental office at this point. I don't know who else is in there at this point. I will turn, so this area is currently all asphalt. We do provide new landscaping and green space around the building and around the patio. I will call Charlie up to walk through the architecture. You want to come up here, Charlie? Next slide. I'll give you this. Just stays on.
So, want to go to the next slide? There should be elevations maybe there, or renderings.
Can you speak into the microphone?
Most certainly.
Right. That's okay.
Okay, so architecturally, we have tan, stack bond, and soldier course brick with a Akoya wood siding. To meet the town requirements, we added the 30-foot tower with metal panel cornice. Obviously, signage is not approved. This is just schematic at this point. We have architectural lighting, and again, bringing the wood siding at the drive-through bump on the north end. Storefront glazing on the west side as well as the south, which would be away from us on this page. If you want to go to the next page. So on the south side, we have a patio covered. There'll be fans with woods, natural wood tongue and groove underneath on the soffit. And again, storefront glazing, they'll tie in with the metal panel. You could go to the next page. I know one of the questions was about how we were going to handle the back of the tower. We're looking at doing metal panel carrying it over from the cornice, so it'll be that black architectural Omega Light style metal panel they'll tie in with the canopies. That's about it.
Okay, do you have anything else to? So, does anybody on the committee start at the end and work my way across if that's? Tracy, do you have any?
Yeah, I guess the first, do we want to go section by section? Is that cool, or just general comments first?
Why don't we do general comments? Is it reasonable?
I guess what strikes me first is the tower, right, as an element, but for guidelines, having a soldier course or a wainscot, some kind of, base, middle, and cornice look to the building. Not seeing that evident, I think that was the first thing that struck me about the building is.
Are you saying within the within the tower, or just in general with the building? Yeah, so we were trying to stick with Starbucks design, which is a minimalistic look. They prefer no cornices. They really didn't want a cornice on the tower. Obviously, we realized there's some town requirements, so we were trying to bridge the gap between those two. We thought with the canopy overhangs and with the cornice on the tower, we were kind of hedging our bet and at least covering some portion of that. And then obviously the tower having a continuous siding, we thought it broke up with the signage, and then we obviously still have to work through the signage allowances, but in terms.
Stone, like the use of stone that kind of provides different material look that kind of brings up more of that block feeling that this portrays.
So right, yeah. So right now, this is very close to their prototype, short of the 30-foot tower. They prefer not to even have the wood above the canopy, but we realize it's a long expanse of singular material, so we were trying to break it up.
Any thoughts? Any thoughts on what you could do to put a base across there that would still be?
I mean, would you
with the
be
Starbucks style?
acceptable if we did like a soldier course inset, like recessed soldier course at like that 2 foot to line with that lower mullion of the glass? Like if we did a inset soldier course to break up that look, or right now everything's tan brick, but we could do an accent color of brick in there.
One behind it.
I think that I think my eye is looking for, that continuation of that lower mullion across the building.
Yeah, I think we could switch the orientation of the brick and inset it to create a little shadow line. If we wanted to really switch materials, we could do a darker brick that still ties in with the metal. I don't know if we want to add like precast at this point because it doesn't really have it anywhere else on the building, but
Right, and I don't think it needs to be a huge contrast, right?
yeah.
Maybe something just to look at if there's some definition of, a horizontal.
Okay. Most certainly.
I think those are all fair comments for our application. I was personally very excited to see a Starbucks that doesn't have too many materials. I think in the drive-through of the one on Sheridan, I counted 9 the one day. So I think that having sort of the dark, where you have like the storefront and then that dark band with the canopy, I think that does personally, in my opinion, achieve sort of breaking that facade up a little bit. But if the rest of the committee agrees that there should be more of a base, I think maybe a darker tan or something on that bottom, I think would make sense. But I think the tower and all that, I think that achieves some of what we're looking for.
Great.
Thank you. Here you-
Yeah, I did a question on the tower itself. There was a question originally on what materials were on the back of the tower, and you said it was acacia wood on the front and sides, and it was omni panel on the back. Is that
So
is it all the same panel, or is there a different material on the back? Just
no,
to
on the
be
back
specific?
we'd wrap the metal panel with decorative score lines. So we just bring the metal panel back down as like a shroud. If you go to the hardline elevation, I think it shows it. So is there a second page of the hardline? Is there another? Oh, okay. Yeah. So this is, yeah. So wrapping the side and back, the shroud would come back down with the metal panel. We are going to have roof drainage coming down at some point to tie. They'll match the metal panel, but
I'm feeling because of where it is, there's really no back to the tower. The 3.5 of the sides are all exposed. How much bigger of a deal would it be to carry the nicer material around all 4 of
The
sides
wood.
of the tower? I mean, keep the same cornice detail. Don't change the cornice detail on the back sides either.
yeah, we could bring wood back at least on the side, and then we are draining off the back, so we could bring the wood on the side so that only the back is metal panel.
And when you say back, which compass structure
So
is
it'd
that?
be so the tower's facing west. I think that's the west side, so it'd be the east side.
What are your guys' thoughts on 3 sides and the side facing to the right not being? Okay. And I was coming over the highway. You'd see it from there. No, the
Yeah.
highway's the overpass over the highway. You'd be looking at it. It's not huge, but I think at the very least 3 sides need to be covered.
Yep. Yeah.
Duncan, did you have?
Not really. I'm in agreement with the comments that are being made. So far, there's a lot of requirements that we have to meet. And there's a few places where it's probably not critical on this building because it's a sort of standalone. But I agree with the base, getting something, bringing the lower part of the windows just at that level, bringing something across. But otherwise, you're caught between an owner that says this is what we're going to do and a town that says no, this is what we want. And I think overall, it's come together. There was a number of comments from the staff, which are absolutely accurate. If you go to the letter of the law, but we have, I think, as a board, the ability to be a little more lenient in our recommendations. It's still up to the planning board to make the final decision, but I think getting this base in is a critical part of making this work. And it's everybody recognizes Starbucks and their things, so you don't want to totally ruin their years of cultivation. So, thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, and I think what I'm hearing is I've got to bring this back to the planning board at our next meeting. Doesn't go to the planning board. Oh, that's right.
And the wrap the materials. With those comments, we would go back to the planning department.
Very good. Okay, all right. Thanks.
It's a minor site modification.
Can we go to the site plan?
Yep.
Please. I'm really glad to see that you made a connection out to Maple Road. Internal connections were working, but you couldn't get to the street from it. There was some comment about getting out to Sweet Home Road, but you don't own the property to get out to there.
No, there's no way for us to get to Sweet.
Without crossing somebody else's property and encouraging them. I suppose about the only comment on the site, I'm glad that you made that connection. Comment I have on the site is where you're connecting to the medical building, crossing there's a small sidewalk area there. I can dig it up, or you could point to it with your green light. There, right there. Seems to be a large area of pavement. I'm just thinking a small green area there on the other side of the curb. Be nice.
This is green right here.
Yes, on the other side.
On this side?
Yes.
That's going to impact our traffic flow. Can't add additional green space. We got cars coming through here.
Yes.
So
That tightly?
it's tight in there.
Okay, go ahead.
I do have one other question. On your properties there, do you have any of the public artwork that's requested? Public art?
We have had public art. I don't believe we have any public art on this site. So we're certainly looking to explore it. We added it on other properties.
Would it be possible to add something in the area just to start meeting more to the intent of the regulations?
We're willing to work with the town.
Yeah, thank you.
Maybe something on the side of the dumpster facing
Can't put
Starbucks.
anything on the side of the dumpster.
Can't put anything on the side of the dumpster.
That's your regulation, it's not ours. They once put something on the side of the dumpster, they got in a lot of trouble for it. So, although that would be a good place to put some public art. If your
You
code.
put it on the dumpster, or you put it on the wall next to the dumpster?
Not on the wall either. Gary could, test the fact that we cannot put anything in the dumpster enclosures. It is interesting because that would be a nice place to put something, but your code currently doesn't allow that.
Is that true? They can't paint the,
So, I would take that, we will work with the town on finding somewhere, see what public art we can add. This isn't site in progress.
I just
Maybe
have a
Jeff wants-
question on, were you done, sorry?
you go ahead, I talked.
Community, the connectivity to the site. So we talk about pedestrian access and getting to the building, but because when I first saw the plan, I'm thinking, how do you even see this building, right? It's tucked behind another building. From Sweet Home, it's, elevated to the back of the site. So just visual connectivity, I guess, what is the plan on, how do you even know it's back there? Mhm.
Sign on each road, also the driveways, Starbucks everywhere. While I don't drink coffee, my wife seems to have no problem finding Starbucks. Never seen a problem with finding Starbucks. So between the signage on the road and the fact that the minute you turn the site, you can see this tower element from both roads. That's how we accomplish that.
Gotcha, okay.
Anybody else? All right, as I was saying before, except I was incorrect about the first part, the relevant part, that I have to bring it back to the planning. It is a minor matter. We're dealing with them directly,
Yep.
but as my first time at Design Advisory Board meeting, I think that the suggestions that were proffered were reasonable, minor, willingness to pick right up on it, move ahead. I want to say thank you for that. Anybody have any other questions at this point?
John, we should go through the checklist.
Okay,
So everyone gave their general comments. We've heard the presentation. Don't see anyone in the audience. So normally, the DAB goes through the checklist to see if there are, the checklist is the application. The petitioner has given us their take on how they meet standards. The comments you saw in the staff report are staff comments tracking the checklist. But it would be up to the DAB to go through the applicable sections of the checklist and agree with responses you got from the applicant or ask any further questions. By going through the checklist, you end up summarizing your findings, which end up being final, in this case, because it's not going to the planning board, it'd be your final determination that the staff will use when we review the site plan.
Very good. So we're looking on page 4 of 14. Is that correct? That we'll
Yes.
run through the guidelines one at a time and,
By section,
We
yeah.
do by section.
okay. All right. Is that incumbent upon me to jump right in, or am I going to
Yes, sir.
work?
The first section being pedestrian access and
Pedestrian access.
connectivity.
Right.
Do any of the members
Just ask if there's
that
any
we would turn into
changes,
findings?
Okay.
adjustments.
Does anybody have any suggestions? The A1 section on public pedestrian access and connectivity.
Nope.
Okay, we're good on that. And then outdoor amenity space, the patio, roofed over patio area. Is there any comment?
No.
Concern?
I did have a comment I noted just for your general consideration. It did appear that between the site plan and the elevations that were shown, there was an inconsistency in the size of the covered patio. I don't know if that's something that you guys would like to look at, but the one appeared to be shifted over a little bit more. Again, I think it's just something between the site plan and the elevations that appeared to be different.
We will carry that through in our site plan review at the staff level.
All right, and do you have any comments on that, or?
Yeah. Yep.
Thank you. Okay, bicycle amenities, there will be a bike rack, is that?
There was a
is.
comment on that as well, that the bike rack in one plan appears in one place, and then in the other vegetation plan or landscaping plan, it looks like there's plants in the same area that the bike rack is. Right, just again, something to check on and see if something needs to be clarified, maybe.
Now, has there ever been any discussion of using the bike rack as a public art piece? I know that's been done.
Is the back door the door that's connected to the sidewalk? If I'm coming from Maple Road and I'm following the path, I walk to the left of the medical building, and then I can either go to the right around the dumpsters or I can walk straight across the dumpsters. But it seems to be the path that has the pedestrian walk to it is the one going to the right.
This pedestrian path,
Yes. Okay, so if I'm on Maple Road, how do I get to Starbucks?
if you're on Maple Road,
Maple Road down at the bottom.
if you're on Maple, you come up here,
Yep.
you come right across the back, and right up here.
Okay.
We have a pedestrian linkage all the way across.
Okay.
And then landscaping, are we generally in agreement that the code is met, the zoning?
Yep.
Ordinance?
I don't have any objection.
Jump to sustainable features. Questions or comments?
Nope.
Nope.
Okay. residential transitions don't really apply here. Discuss the facade. Anything further that we need to clarify? Anybody?
So I do have a question, actually. It notes ethos in here, but you mentioned metal. Did we switch to metal, or is there still ethos?
That can become metal. Right under the cornice, so you're right there.
You got
So right under the cornice, that was shown as ethos,
Okay.
although it just be just as easy to bring that metal panel down. You're just offsetting the color.
Mhm.
So,
it.
is that amount of ethos an issue with it? I know generally it's not preferred, but is that an issue?
I mean, it's more of a durability issue. If it's that high, the only durability issue would be water damage. So I'm not,
I mean,
We'll be sealing that wood pretty
yeah.
every 3 years, so
Mhm.
we'll have people up there pretty regularly on this
Mhm.
building, so
Me-
that natural wood, it's sealed.
we're not concerned about maintenance. You're familiar with our sites. So, and all the Starbucks, we have to treat that, all that wood gets treated every 3 years. So we have people on any of the wood areas. So it'll be serviced, looked at every 3 years. So it's a very small strip of ephes. It's really there to break up the color. But we'd like to leave that little bit of strip.
Yeah, I don't have an issue with it. I don't know if others on the board.
I'm okay with it.
Exception.
Fire
Okay.
will also be lighter because we'll top light it.
Good.
Entryways. Any comments?
Nope.
Windows were discussed.
All good.
All good. Roofs and architectural details, kind of part of the tower discussion. Street level interest. I know there's a Starbucks back there somewhere.
Its own interest.
Wife will be interested. Sustainable building features.
No comments.
Okay,
No problem.
building materials have been discussed somewhat. Spaces. Issues, concerns.
No.
Sidewalk's been brought up. Anything further, any other clarification?
No.
Curb zone,
All good.
No problem.
gonna make this checklist. Well,
I think it's the same material that we just went through.
So I think the only recommendations we're making, right? Because you want record of that.
I didn't hear what you started
Do
with.
we have to make our recommendations formally to you guys?
Yes, and what I heard, back to the beginning, is that during site plan review, we look at the consistency with the patio undercover between the elevation drawings and the site plan. That during site plan review, we look at the plantings near the walkway towards the bike path, and that in order to meet the recommendation for public art, that something be considered with the bike racks.
And I think we were also recommending to fulfill the base, middle, and cornice, that there be a band at the bottom to align with the bottommost mullion.
Which guideline would that be? That would be
it was one of the first comments from Tracy.
right, and I want to tie it to one of the guidelines. 1A. Can you repeat that, how you want that worded? The recommendation?
Yeah.
Tying the cornice to.
So you said that if there were a water table or band to be added, that it would pick up the mullion, like to create a datum line. The applicant said they would be willing to consider either, I believe I heard, like a recessed material or perhaps a different color of the same material to help create that kind of line, to create a base to the building.
Yeah.
Right, the shadow line, I think. And the other architectural item I heard you guys discuss was what the material on the back side of the tower would or wouldn't be, and I'm not sure I heard that clearly either.
I think we came all three sides, yeah.
And then the fourth side would be
The metal panel.
the metal panel. So the architectural comments.
I have those two plus the other three. Recommendations, we'll put that in findings, for John to review.
Checklist. Thank you for your cooperation.
We would need a motion to make those recommendations for site plan review with that 5 recommendations.
I'll make a motion.
Yeah, it was Tracy who seconded. So Marissa, you first and you seconded. All right, roll call. Duncan Black,
Aye.
Marissa Colucci, Tracy Conhiser-Ruby,
Aye.
Jonathan O'Rourke, Pete Talty.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good night.
What's next? Minutes?
I'll have to.
Left to vote on. You also have for your information the roster. But if you don't want to go over that.
Need a motion for the minutes, because I'm gonna have to abstain.
Motion to approve the minutes
I'll
from
sec-
last time?
Go ahead. Duncan.
All right.
That's all
Go
good.
ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Second.
Duncan Black,
Aye.
Marissa Colucci, Tracy Conhiser-Ruby,
Aye.
Jonathan O'Rourke, Pete Talty.
Yes.
Isn't he allowed to now? Okay.
That was for the minutes?
Yes.
Do we need to do anything with the meeting?
Yes, it does.
Good, okay.
Does anyone want to adjourn?
I'll second that. Yes, please.